What is up, everybody?
Welcome to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
No. Welcome to the Fantasy Tap.
Whoop.
Been a little bit.
I had a Rain energy drink, and damn, son,
Wow.
it got me.
Wow.
It's got me hype.
Wow. Not even a sponsor, but hey.
Nope. I've had a half of this thing, quarter of it, a third of it.
I'm on like 3 a day. Wow.
God, my heart's palpitating. My eyes are dilated. I'm sweating. I could.
Obviously, caffeine. So welcome to the Fantasy Tap. Today,
Caffeine tap today, baby.
it has been a little bit since our last episode. We released last Thursday. Today is actually going to be Saturday, March 27th for you guys.
We suck.
Yeah, we are.
Actually, we're just very busy at work, and we apologize truly from the bottom of our hearts. We both, if you don't know, I'm a realtor, John's an electrician, and the housing market right now, they work together pretty much, is going nuts. So we are both slammed, unfortunately, but we do want to make sure to get these episodes out to you guys. We apologize for the untimeliness.
Well, I mean, realistically, we wanted to get a little bit more free agency news going.
I mean, that too, yes.
We released late last week. We did get together to release on Wednesday, and there really wasn't much going on. But not a good enough excuse. We do apologize. So, moving forward with that, we are here today to not only be bring you guys up to date on all the latest running back news, wide receiver news, free agency news, but where I meant to leave that sentence was to update you on what's going on in some of these committee running back backfields.
Yes, sir.
There's been a lot of guys that have been shifting teams, a lot of teams loading up on B-class, C-class running backs, and some people got re-signed. So let's bring you guys up to date. Free agency's been a little wild.
Yes,
A lot has been going on, especially with these 1-year contracts, 2-year contracts. But to start us off today, we are drinking a beer. If you don't know, this is a beer podcast as well as a fantasy football. You don't need anything now. After that, after that little energy drink, might cut you off.
Yeah, you should. Do you have another one?
And that's how it starts. So as well as being a football podcast, we are also a beer review podcast. And with Mike being on his little 75-day hard challenge, I am the only one drinking this beer today, and I believe he set me up for failure.
I didn't.
I have not tasted this beer yet.
You should.
It is not time. Don't know if I'm not ready for it. I don't think I'm really ready for it yet.
He likes sours.
I love sours.
And it's a sour.
And I told him I like sours.
So I got a sour.
He got me a sour, and it is peculiar. It is a blueberry chocolate coffee and vanilla sour.
To go along with the caffeine.
Yeah, I'm scared. This is not the fruity deliciousness, sweetness, sourness that I am expecting. I have taken a little sniff of it, and it kind of scares me. And we're sitting where I am right now, not really sure whether or not I should take that sip. But oh well. So I will be drinking on this throughout the episode, and at the end of it, if you guys don't hear me gagging or anything like that, it might be pretty good. So make sure you pay attention to the end of the episode where we will give it a full review.
Yes, sir. Yep. Moving on to our question of the day, John.
Our question of the day. Kind of a nice one. We have the draft coming up mid-April. A lot of draft pick changes today, especially on Friday. Now, Mike, out of all of the talent coming through that first round that we're looking at, maybe the second or third round, who are you most excited for to see where they land? Because obviously wherever these college guys end up plays a huge role about what their careers can look like, especially the first 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, so to be honest, I wanted to go with, one of the bigger guys, the bigger name guys, the top, top 10 picks, top 10 2B picks, like a Pitts or a Chase or a Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle, one of those guys. But to be honest, Elijah Moore, I'm very excited for. Okay? He killed his pro day. And, I mean, this is going to hurt John's ears, so cover your ears. He put up over 200 yards against the Gators last year and a couple touchdowns. Killed them. SEC receiver, out of Ole Miss. I know John likes those Ole Miss receivers, but killed it at his pro day. 4.35 40, 4-second flat short shuttle, and then a 6.66 second 3-cone drill. He's only 5'9.5", 178 pounds. Everybody always comes out and says, "Oh, they're going to be the next Tyreek Hill, blah, 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 blah." No, this guy's not. This guy's going to be the first Elijah Moore. He's going to ball out. I'm very excited to see where he goes. Hopefully he can get to a team that already has a solid number one receiver where he can play in that number 2 spot. I'm not saying he can't be a number 1 receiver, but I think it would complement his skill set much more if he can find somewhere where they already have somebody big, and like a number one, like I said, a number 1 already wide receiver. He can fill that number 2 spot, be that speedy guy, change of pace. Very excited for Elijah Moore.
No, I can see that for sure because, like you're saying, he's not one of those top 5 receivers in the draft right now as far as draft stock where they're expected to be going in most mocks. So he's someone who's more than likely going to end up in a situation where he is either that number 2 receiver or just a role filler. So he's someone who should end up in a really, really nice position where he has a chance to succeed.
I'm trying to think of a spot where I'd really like him, and one keeps coming to my mind, and you're going to say, again, oh, it's just because you can put a wide receiver in Aaron Rodgers. Well, no, I do think he would pair very well right next to Javonte Adams.
Yeah. Kadarius Toney.
Elijah
Moore.
Yeah, I like Kadarius Toney too. He just costs
literally any other receiver there that's not terrible will do great in Green Bay if they are that number 2.
Where else though? Sorry.
Honestly, this is going to be weird, especially because out of the new signing, but the Ravens.
Yeah, the Ravens.
He's not just a pure burner; he's a good route runner too.
He is a very good route. He's a good route runner, better than Marquise Brown. And maybe I don't know that they'll do that just because of Marquise Brown, but I could see where you're going. New Orleans would be a cool little spot.
It would be. They don't really have the fastest receivers in the league, but they are. Yeah, they do need a good number 2. But is he big enough for like a real number 2 spot?
I mean, it's a slot player.
Yeah.
But
all right.
Anyways.
So moving over to my guy, I'm gonna go a little more basic, I guess. Mike didn't want to go that way, so I'll just take my favorite player in the draft right now. That's gonna be Kyle Pitts, and it's not because he's a Florida guy. Realistically, it's because he's possibly, outside of Trevor Lawrence, one of the most talented people in this draft. You're a tight end running a 4.46, hand-timed 40. He's a monster. You saw him take over the field for Florida throughout the season. He immediately can take over a really good, strong role, and probably is going to be getting somewhere between 75 to 80 targets, if not more, on his rookie season as soon as he goes somewhere, as long as he doesn't go somewhere with a Kittle Kelsey. We'll talk about it later. San Francisco moved up in the draft. It's to grab him. I'm just kidding. But realistically,
maybe could be.
No, they're grabbing a quarterback. But realistically, I think that he's going to come into a team and either take over a number 1 receiving role by the end of the season, or he's going to be complementing a number 1 receiver on a team like maybe the Packers, who tendered Robert Tonyan. They can use Tonyan and Kyle Pitts. Who needs that second receiver when you've got one of the receiver type tight ends like Kyle Pitts?
The Patriots need a tight end.
No, another one.
Another one.
Drop Q. But realistically, I think Kyle Pitts is someone who, regardless of what team he ends up on, is going to have a bright future.
I like Kyle Pitts.
At that point, if he falls onto a team that actually needs him, he's going to excel completely. I think the Eagles would be a great spot for him.
Yeah, especially if Zach Ertz goes bye-bye.
Yeah, I think the Eagles would be a really good spot for him as well, just because they use their tight end so effectively.
And at 12, it's not out of the picture.
No, he's someone that could honestly go anywhere between the 3rd pick and the 2nd pick and the 20th pick. It's really.
I don't think he's getting out of 14.
It depends on when the team. It's kind of like a fantasy draft. It's whenever someone feels like pulling the trigger on the tight end. Who really do you need? He's a space filler. Like he's best player available as soon as the second pick comes up. Now, if you're trying to fill a spot on your hole on your team, you're not really looking for your tight end to be the spot that's being filled first. You're looking at a lineman, you're looking at whatever, but as soon as that second pick comes around, he's best player on the draft board.
Close to it. I think Najee's very, very good. But give me another one. Give me one more.
Honestly?
We have time for
give me Zach Wilson. I'll take Zach Wilson all day.
I
am so excited. I think he's either going to be one of the biggest busts out of this draft class or one of the best quarterbacks out of this draft class. Could be kind of a situation like last year where Joe Burrow, automatic first overall pick, but you got Justin Herbert over here balling. Trevor Lawrence, good. Joe Burrow did all right this year. He showed some signs. Trevor Lawrence falling into position in Jacksonville where, with this free agency, should have a chance to succeed pretty well, especially under Urban Meyer. But you got Zach Wilson out here who's he's a baller. He's a baller. He's a confident baller and could be huge. Also could be absolute trash and overvalued because of just hype. So I'm really curious to see where he lands. I think as of today, the hottest or
he's going number 2.
Yeah.
He's going number 2. He killed it at his pro day today. That crossbody 50-yard throw right under the receiver's hands. I mean, he's going number 2. I'm pretty sure you probably can't even put money on it right now, John. They saw that throw and they took it down. And I forget who I was reading, but there was a text sent out. I forget, somebody posted on Twitter. Don't have it right in front of me. I was just scrolling through earlier today. An NFL rep said Wilson's number 2. The draft starts at pick number 3.
Right.
And even Trevor Lawrence shouted out Wilson on Twitter with that throw. He retweeted and said he said sheesh.
Hey.
Sheesh. My second guy, real quick, just to give it to you real quick before we move on, Javonte Williams out of UNC. I think he's being overlooked. 5'10", stocky as hell. And I think he can do it all. Excited to see where he lands. If he becomes a team's number 1 running back, he definitely has the talent, the skill set to do so. But does he land in a spot to do it? That's the question.
No,
he doesn't.
I don't think so. No, I'm just kidding. At this point, it's such a toss-up. You really can't predict where anyone's going outside of the first 2 picks.
Yeah, that's about it. I mean, look at last year. Last year, all those mock drafts, and I mean, it's every year, really, but last year for sure. I mean, everybody had, obviously Joe Burrow was going number 1, but after that, after the top, 5 picks, 6, 7 picks, it just all went to shit.
It changes every day.
Yep.
Even today, if you look at mock drafts from last week to this week, it completely changes.
Well, yeah, because 3 spots did change.
Hey, well, let's bring that up. So moving over to a dynasty question for you guys. Mike, just for me and you, we've got the draft coming up. We're going to be doing rookie drafts in dynasty formats. When you're going through the draft, you've got an early first-round pick. Are you targeting a wide receiver or a running back in a dynasty format?
Dynasty format?
Absolutely.
I'm going running back. What position do I have? I have the 101?
Let's say 3. Let's say you've got the 103.
3? I'm still grabbing a running back. I'm grabbing the best running back available, dependent upon who it is. And really, it depends on how the draft falls, where everybody goes. Right now, if you're in a league where you draft before the draft and you just draft rookies, Najee Harris is my first pick. 100%, hands down. I think he's going to be the best running back in this class. And I think he's going to end up in the best position just because teams that spend that high of a pick on him are going to use him. So Najee Harris is going to be the 101. Outside of that, I don't know where you go. I mean, you could go Etienne. I'm not too high on Etienne. I didn't like his regression. That kind of worried me this past year. I know it was a short year, funky year and whatnot, but that does worry me a little bit. But in my opinion, if I've got any of the top 3 picks, dependent upon where the guys go, I'm going running back, because you can always find Terry McLaurin, Justin Jefferson, just 2 guys off the top of my head in the last 2 years have either gone in the second round or the very end of the first round. So you can get guys later, or receivers later. and it's harder to hit on a running back later in the draft, depending on the year.
I was going to say, it really does depend on for me, it really does depend on the year. And it, again, does really depend on where people are drafted in real life. If the best running back in the draft is drafted by a team that has another great running back, obviously, they're not going to have an immediate impact. And with the lifespan of running backs in the NFL lately, that's not going to be a lot of value to your team. But for me, I actually really like the idea of drafting at the 103. It's kind of a toss-up depending on who's there. You're looking at what year it is, who's available. If it's a little bit later, I actually really like drafting if you're solid at quarterback and you've got some running backs to work with that you can use for a couple years.
Grabbing a solid receiver.
I'm grabbing one of the best receivers out of the class. Receivers just last much, much longer. And once they're good and you have them, it's hard to trade for that receiver. Like it's hard to go out and trade for Justin Jefferson right now. Like you said, you're spending a lot. You could have drafted him later, blah, blah, blah. Terry McLaurin, same thing. A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf, all of these people you could have drafted on their draft day, and now you can flip them for running backs that can get you, that might have been in the league for 2 years, 3 years at this point. I would like to hold those guys, though. I think DK Metcalf's got 8 years of solid fantasy value.
Yep.
Most running backs you draft, no one's going to be valuable for at most 4 years.
Yeah, if I'm at the end of the first, I agree with you. I'm going wide receiver, because I think you get the most value there, and there's still going to be so much depth there at that position. Mm-hmm. It's just trying to hit on, the best player and best situation. I think people get so lost in where or how guys finish their college careers. Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy, not knocking them, not saying they're not going to have great careers and whatnot, but Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy, produced massively in college. We're going in front of Justin Jefferson, and even Michael Pittman showed flashes. So I think that it's really dependent upon the team and where they fall. What your situation is with your team. Early, like you said, though, late in the draft, I definitely agree. Or late in the round, I definitely agree. I'm more than likely going wide receiver. So
absolutely. All right. And then for anyone that's watching us on YouTube, if you're listening to us on our podcast, we'll be tweeting out our question of the day for everyone. Make sure you guys are responding to that. Let us know who you guys like. If you're on YouTube, leave it in the comment section below. Let us hear. Do you guys go running backs? Why do you guys go running backs? And then as well for the question of the day, who are you most excited for in the draft? Who's going to make the biggest impact in the NFL? Obviously, quarterbacks are team changers, but those big old tight ends, those fast receivers, those big running backs can definitely lead a team and become a huge asset for you.
Yep.
So let us know below. Now for a whole bunch of great news in the NFL, fantasy-wise.
Tons and tons and
Mike,
tons.
Start us off with your man.
Yes, sir.
Your guy, the number 2 receiver in the NFL for the 2020 season.
Shut up. He got hurt. He was hurt, okay? I'm still holding it. He was hurt.
All right.
Wah, wah, wah.
So start it out.
Kenny Golladay signs a 4-year deal with the Giants, the New York Giants. I'm not thrilled.
No, I'm not really liking it. I don't think that's a really good landing spot for him. I think they've already had some solid B receivers there. He obviously falls into that number 1 spot for me really quickly.
I'm not worried about the other receivers around him. I'm worried about the quarterback situation. He's going to a much worse quarterback situation.
Better running back. More receiver depth.
Better running back, yes.
More definitely. Tight end depth.
And their tight ends are
Evan Ingram and
listen, Evan Ingram's poop. He is great on paper. He is great on paper.
He was a great scouted tight end. He was evaluated to be an amazing tight end. Yes. He's fast.
He's very athletic.
He's athletic, but he has
everything you need. He just can't put it on the field consistently, especially. Yeah. But anyways, I'm not really worried about the other weapons around him, because he did have, well, I guess not really DeAndre Swift because he didn't really play that much, but he had Kerryon Johnson when he was doing his thing. I'm really worried about the quarterback. going to a worse quarterback. I'm worried about the offensive line. It's just not a good situation for him. I'm not very excited. I mean, I do think he has wide receiver 2 production next year, but that's about it. He's not a wide receiver 1 for me anymore.
No, absolutely not. He's taken a huge hit for me. For me, really, though, it is the fact that he's going from a position where he's the number 1 receiving option on a team to he's now kind of the number 1, and everyone else behind him's not bad either. I mean, they added John Ross. They still have Slayton. They still have Shepard. They've got Ingram. And they've got Saquon Barkley, someone who demands a lot of touches. The rest of those guys don't demand the touches, but they can fill in very, very easily. Danny Jones is not going to be relying on Kenny Golladay. He's just going to have a lot of options and has no more excuses to be a failure. So
yeah, he has no more excuses. This is it. This is his do or die year.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, he's on a contract year now.
He's got to be. He's got to be. I'm not too worried about. I believe here. I'm pulling it up real quick. Marvin Jones, the year that Kenny Golladay really popped off, he had 91 targets. So I mean, I'm not too worried about. And I know that was his only one, receiver there other than him.
Danny Amendola.
I mean, Amendola did pop off that year too, didn't he? Mm-hmm. So I mean, he's dealt with it before, and Kenny's produced. I feel bad for him, but they tweeted at each other. They said they're gonna have a good year, him and Danny Dimes. So,
yeah. That means
everything. Yeah, man. They meet up for off-season workouts.
Get lunch together, probably. They go to dinner.
Big Apple.
Yeah.
Pizza, baby.
Yeah, I'm actually a little sad for him. I would have preferred a team that's a little more receiver needy than a team that has a bunch of B-class receivers, but it is what it is.
You know what I am excited for?
Tell me.
The Miami Dolphins.
Let's talk about Brian Flores' BD.
Chris
BDE.
Greer.
Is it Chris Greer?
Yeah.
You don't think Flores had anything to do with it? I like to give him a lot of credit.
No,
even if he doesn't deserve it.
I give Chris Greer credit for the moves and the offseason moves, the roster moves. I give B-Flow credit for the on-field production. And I mean, they go hand in hand. But the Miami Dolphins, traded down from number 3 to number 12 and then back up to number 6.
All within like 10 minutes.
So that means the San Francisco 49ers are picking 3rd. The Eagles are picking 12th.
Justin Fields to San Francisco.
Nope.
No.
Supposedly, Trey Lance. Rumors?
Smoke.
I mean, what's there to smoke? Nobody can jump them.
The Jets.
They are going Wilson. It's locked in. Their ticket's already in. How crazy would it be if Wilson goes 1?
It won't happen.
I know it won't, but let's just
It would be wild because there were odds on it, and it was Trevor Lawrence was negative 5,000 as the number 1 pick. So people would be pissed. Let's put it that way. Bettors would be very aggravated. But no, imagine we went 4 quarterbacks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Who's picking 5? The
Bengals.
Okay. 4 quarterbacks.
Who's picking 4?
4 is the
Lions? Why do I not know this?
The Falcons. The Falcons.
Oh, yeah,
the
Falcons.
Atlanta.
Yeah. They're not going do they go quarterback?
It's highly debated right now in the media industry. As far as sports go, is Matt Ryan over? Is it time to hold on to him? He's only 35.
They have 2 years left on his deal.
He's expensive.
Damn, I was really excited. We were definitely going to get Jamar Chase, but now I'm a little worried. They take Jamar Chase.
No, they need the Falcons if they don't grab a quarterback, they go defense.
They do need a defender.
They've got 2 great receivers, so they don't need to go receiver.
One's 32.
Still one of the top 15 receivers in the league. When he's healthy. When healthy. All right. Moving over, Jimmy Garoppolo is still the guy in San Francisco.
Yeah. Josh Rosen was still the guy, too, in Arizona.
So after moving up to number 3, like we just mentioned, it's highly suspected that San Francisco is going to be going with a quarterback at that number 3 pick.
Yep, they traded 3 ones for it.
And they just came out last week and was talking about how Jimmy Garoppolo is still the guy.
No, they came out today.
Oh, they repeated it today?
Yes, they did.
Oh. So they are grabbing Pitts at 3.
Yeah.
Kyle Pitts and George Kittle going to lead the league. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still the guy that needs to get traded away.
He has a no trade clause.
Yeah, he can.
He can waive it. Yeah, but only he can.
That
waive
just
it.
means they can't trade him somewhere he doesn't want to go.
Oh yeah, yep. He is the starter. Ian Rappaport said that he is a starter for 2021.
Yeah, because they haven't drafted the next guy behind him yet. They can't say that.
Yeah.
They don't know if it's going to be Zach Wilson or if it's going to be Trey Lance.
Well, they're saying this plan could take. This plan would make sense if South Dakota's Trey Lance was the quarterback they traded up for, because have him develop underneath Jimmy G, who
saves my football, my fantasy team.
Yep.
All right. Okay. I mean, I can see it. Moving over to a little bit of free agency news, we got Willie Snead signing with the Las Vegas Raiders, a team that just drafted 2 receivers last year, and both of them kind of.
Brian Edwards, I need you to pop off. I just got a rookie card.
Hey, is it signed or is
no? It's a holographic.
Hey, we'll take it.
Yep.
All right. Zach Wilson has a fire pro day.
Yeah,
if anyone did have a chance to take a look at that, this man is kind of looking like everything he's been hyped up to be so far.
Yep. John's gonna marry the man.
This
year's Drew Lock.
Don't say that. Don't give him that. Don't give him that juju. This year's Justin Herbert.
No, Drew. You love Drew Lock.
I like Drew Lock.
You love Drew Lock.
I like Drew Lock.
You loved.
Never.
You breaking up with him. You broke up with him.
It happened.
You're on to better things. Zach Wilson.
He's engaged or something. It's okay. Well, not that I should know that anyways, but
he does.
All right. Over in Tampa Bay, Leonard Fournette is signing another 1-year deal with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to try to go back and repeat.
Playoff Lenny.
Yeah, I think the only
Lombardi Lenny, actually.
Lombardi Lenny,
It's a nickname, yeah.
is what he re-signed. I think it's a 1-year, $2 million contract, so it's not an expensive one. He kind of played for cheap.
I could have paid that. No, I'm kidding.
I was going to say, wow, we should be funding this show. All right. Mike Davis signs with Atlanta. He will be the question mark go-to back there. I mean, Todd Gurley's gone.
Maybe not.
Ito Smith
is
still there. Could you really? So realistically, I think it's kind of funny how no one's really talking about how Atlanta's backfield's essentially open, in my opinion.
We're talking about it.
We're breaking the news. If you really think about it, there isn't a strong presence in Atlanta's backfield right now.
Maybe they drafted signed Mike Davis to be the guy. He balled out for 2 games last year. Everybody went wild.
Oh, I mean, he filled in the role for Christian McCaffrey pretty well.
Very well for a couple games.
Was it only the 2 games that he?
Balled out?
Or are you talking like exceptionally balled out?
He exceptionally balled. He had a good, stretch, but like exceptionally balled out for those couple games, and then one at the end, I think.
Yeah. No, I mean, no. Obviously, I don't think you're taking Mike Davis as your go-to running back in any way, shape, or form. I don't think they're gonna. They're a team I can see trading back.
I could see that too.
Trading back in the draft, grabbing a running back, and then filling in some defensive positions with some early seconds and thirds.
But the only issue is I don't think they will be this high in the draft again. I don't think they'll be up top 5 again for a while. I mean, they'll probably be top 10, but I don't think they'll be in the position to be a top 5 pick.
So do they grab a quarterback that needs development and hold on to him?
Yeah. Mac Jones. Do you think Justin Fields falls quite a bit?
I'm honestly,
because every time I turn around, it's one other quarterback's ahead of him. The next quarterback's ahead of him.
As soon as the season ended this year, it was Lawrence Fields, receivers, and then we started getting Trey Lance, we started getting Mac Jones, and then all the quarterbacks kind of started coming up, and then freaking Zach Wilson just came out of nowhere and started jumping up draft boards. At one point, freaking Kyle Trask was one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the draft, or top 10 picks in the draft. Obviously, he's fallen way down there. But, yeah, I could see Justin Fields falling. I also could see him going anywhere between the 2 and 25 spot as well.
Between 3 and 30. Between 3 and 30.
Between 3 and 30. Moving on, we got T.Y. Hilton, the old man. the ancient legend, who's really not that ancient, but he's just past his 30s, is re-signing with the Indianapolis Colts on a 1-year deal, I believe. So we are going to get those calisthenics in, trying to figure out what's going on.
That's a touchdown dance. T-Y. You've never seen him do that in the end zone? He always does it in the end zone. T-Y, baby.
Maybe. All right. So what are your prospects on T.Y. Hilton's future with the Colts? Is it just kind of what we got last season? I mean, now we have Carson Wentz there. Michael Pittman's taking another year fold.
I think he takes a little bit of a step forward compared to last year. I think he's going to have Carson Wentz. Don't sleep on him. We kind of talked about it a couple days ago. Don't sleep on Carson Wentz.
I would have to agree with you. I think Carson Wentz is in for a great year, if not one of his better years. Obviously, I don't think he's going to do as good as that Super Bowl year.
Right.
But
he's going to be usable.
Second best, third best season of his career, possibly. He's walking into a good situation with the best offensive line he's probably ever had.
Ever. Yes. Hands down.
You've got more talent in the receiving corps than he's had in the past 4 or 5 years.
Yep.
You've got a better running back than you've had.
The only place on the offense that has downgraded is the tight end position. Everything else has upgraded for him.
Yeah.
And he's back with his offensive coordinator from that Super Bowl year, which don't read too much into.
No, I tried to always stay away from those situations where it's the
perfect situation.
This quarterback played. This was his high school coach.
Yeah.
Hey, this is the man that developed it. No. Let me look at what this coach does now, how he plays now, because just like you, we all grow.
It's going to be a run-first team.
Absolutely.
But I do think it's going to open up the passing game. I think T.Y. Hilton's going to have, a flexible year this year, and might even get some value out of him.
I'd say T.Y. Hilton finishes 2 weeks as a top 12 wide receiver.
Yeah, I'll give that to you. I could see a couple more. I could see 2 to 3, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe 4. 4 at the high end.
All right, so now we're backing it off.
All right, we're going 12. He's 12 weeks down.
All right. Speaking of players that the Colts possibly should have not re-signed to a deal, we're going to go Marlon Mack is signing with them. Woo! Some people are talking, saying this is a big damage to the future of Johnathan Taylor. Obviously, they have Jordan Wilkins, Nyheim Hines. There was no reason to re-sign Marlon Mack. But coming off that Achilles, what are you really expecting from this guy? Do you see him taking 100 touches away from Taylor?
He'll probably get not away from Taylor. I mean, he'll have about I'd say at most 100 touches. At most 100 touches. I think Johnathan Taylor's our guy. We saw it at the end of the year. They really started to feed the guy. And is Nyheim Hines is still there, correct? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think he's going to take that third down, that pass catching work, which Johnathan Taylor is not bad at.
No, he got more receptions this season than he did in his entire collegiate career.
Yes, 36 out of 39. That's can't do the math, but very high catch percentage.
Yeah.
So, and he had almost 300 yards and a receiving touchdown. I do think that, like I said, Nyheim Hines keeps that third down back role. Marlon Mack is just going to fill in when Johnathan Taylor needs a break.
Yeah.
Johnathan Taylor over 250 touches. I think 250 is a good number for him.
I would say that's probably his high end. I don't see him getting anywhere close to that 300 mark.
No,
I think 250, 275 is his ceiling, in my opinion. 225 at the floor.
Yeah, 275.
If anything, I think Mack really just takes touches away from the other backup running backs. I think it's Johnathan Taylor's backfield, his to do with. When I'm tired, coach, take me out. Put back that guy that just tore his Achilles and had one good season for you. So
the last 4 games, he had over 15 touches each game and averaged at least 4.1 yards a carry. And that was only once. Every other game over that was 5.2 or more. I mean, he had a 30-touch game where he averaged 8.4 yards a carry.
Moving on, we got Matt Barida is signing with the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, a team that's been needing a running back.
I like it.
We'll talk about them in a little bit because we're going to go through these running back movements. More running backs that have been on the move this week. We've got Damian Williams going over to Chicago, going to be backing up or possibly taking touches from Montgomery. We got James White re-signing in New England. Welcome back to Boston. Glad you're here, James.
It's not Boston.
New England?
Yeah.
We're
Foxborough.
Foxborough. The Boston area. Whatever.
The Boston area.
The greater Boston. Yeah.
Kenny Galladay technically went to New Jersey.
Hey. Giants are concerned about Kyle Rudolph's foot. The 2-year deal will possibly be reworked. Josh Reynolds is signing with the Titans to hopefully be that number 2 wide receiver. And I know Mike is about to fill you guys in on
Listen to me and listen to me closely. Josh Reynolds is going to be a steal this year. A steal.
I'm not going to call him a steal.
Welcome to my TED Talk. This is the talk.
I'm not going to call him a steal up until it's actually draft time because
listen,
he could shoot up draft boards, Mike.
High-end wide receiver 2. High-end wide receiver 3, low-end wide receiver 2. That's where he's finishing. I got to adjust my rankings.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Fair.
He's going to shoot up draft boards, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. I don't want to call him a steal until we get closer because he could, like you're saying.
Tell your league to start up now. Take him in the last round.
Deshaun Jackson is going to be signing to the Los Angeles Rams. Going to be joining Matty Stafford, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, Van Jefferson.
Listen
Tyler
to
Higbee.
me and listen to me closely. Do not take Deshaun Jackson. I don't care how fast he is. I don't care what he could do. I don't care what he has done. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Don't give me any reason you're not taking Deshaun Jackson. And if I eat my words, I'm okay with that. Stay away from Deshaun Jackson, even if he is Mr. Irrelevant this year. Stay away. Thank you for my TED Talk.
As the 4th receiver possibly on that team, he's not worth a roster spot.
What was that?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
That might have been Siri.
Oh.
It might have been my watch.
Okay. Scared the hell out of me.
I thought somebody said John.
I thought so too.
Ghost.
Okay.
Oh, man. Phillip Lindsay.
Phillip Lindsay will be signing to the Houston Texans as their 6th running back. We'll talk about him in a little bit. Chris Carson re-signed with the Seattle Seahawks. Great to see. Was a little bit of news. He possibly was signing with the Miami Dolphins there for about an hour and a half, but never seemed to work out. Juju Smith-Schuster is going to be Mr. TikTok himself. Going to be, work it. Yeah. All right. He is actually going to be re-signing with the Steelers on a heavily deflated price. He was actually offered spots in both Kansas City and Baltimore for more money, but denied them to take a year contract with Pittsburgh. And maybe he did it for a reason.
He loves Pittsburgh.
Is that really? Would you really just stay in a city for chance of missing out on a Super Bowl contending team and $1 million more a year?
I mean, yeah. Yeah. What do you mean?
You would rather stay in Pittsburgh than go to Kansas City?
No, I would not.
Oh, yeah.
I would not want to do that.
No.
I would not do what he did.
Yeah, okay.
I'm saying he loves Pittsburgh.
It's a terrible reason to be
terrible
missing.
Towel.
Terrible reason to be missing out on $1 million plus a possible Super Bowl ring.
But he makes so much off TikTok.
He makes so much off of his endorsements. There's no that's why.
His dogs make money.
His dog makes more money than both of us combined.
Yep.
Sad to see. And then right before we started recording, Sammy Watkins signed a 1-year deal with the Baltimore Ravens. $5 million of that guaranteed.
Very interesting.
I thought it was really interesting. When I first heard it, I actually told Mike, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool because Marquise Brown, watered down Tyreek Hill, Lamar Jackson, completely different quarterback, but let's see what that offense can do. You've got a good tight end. You've got a fast receiver, a talented receiver, and a quarterback who kind of can throw it sometimes.
Don't knock Lamar. He can throw it.
Is he a top 10 throwing quarterback in the league?
I don't know.
No.
What's his stats say?
No.
Really? I haven't looked at the stats. I don't know. I'm not going to knock the guy. I think he's a top 5 quarterback, but that's just me.
I think he's a fine quarterback. I just don't think he's one of the – I wouldn't say his –
he's not like an amazingly accurate quarterback, no.
He's not a Michael Vick.
I don't know. I wouldn't know. I don't have the stats in front of me, so I'm not even going to argue.
I'll send him to you.
Was it a meme? Facebook meme you saw? All right, ladies and gents, running back room roulette. Is that what we're going to call it?
Go for it. I like it.
Sure. Running back room roulette. That's what we're talking about. I am pumped. I'm still amped off this rain.
Sure.
We better get done because I know I'm going to crash.
All right.
All right. Let's first start off with Arizona. Okay. Obviously, Kenyan Drake no longer there. Chase Edmonds is really the only capable running back. They did draft Benjamin last year, the year before.
It was last year.
He is there. Yeah, last year. He is there. John, what are your expectations for Chase Edmonds? Should everybody be freaking out? Is Chase Edmonds the running back in Arizona?
As of right now, absolutely. Chase Edmonds is the only real name in Arizona. But if I've got him, I'm in a dynasty league, I'm trading him away right now. They're going to fill that role. Chase Edmonds is not a talented enough back to be a pure number one running back for a team, especially one that's going to be trying to make a move for the Super Bowl. With all of the free agency moves that Arizona's done this year, you're going to expect them to either take a running back early in the draft or trade/sign one of the ones that are still available. James Conner's still a free agent. And I think that's pretty wild, in my opinion. He's one of the better running backs out of this free agency class, in my opinion, in pure statistics.
Yes, when he plays.
When he plays. But I think Arizona would do really well signing someone like James Conner, and then having Chase Edmonds as a better option for receiving back, as well as a third down back. I just don't see them sticking with Chase Edmonds as their pure number one.
I don't either. I agree. They're going to draft somebody. They're going to sign somebody. I think more than likely, in my opinion, I think it comes through the draft. They've kind of built up their offense. Their offense is, going to be solid. They do need some O-line help just a little bit. But I do think they go pick somebody in the draft, whether it's early, late. I can't tell you, but I do think they bring somebody in and at least competes with Chase Edmonds. Chase Edmonds is going to have more fantasy relevance this year than he did last year, more consistent fantasy relevance. But we just kind of got to see how it plays out, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, like John said, I think if you have him, trade him right now because I think this is his highest value. Another A.J. Dillon situation.
No.
It is.
I honestly think that Arizona is going to be a little hesitant to spend a big chunk of draft capital on a running back, especially after what happened with Benjamin last season.
They spent a 6th round on him.
Yeah, he was the only running back they drafted in the draft, and then they had him healthy through offseason camps, supposed to be a big name, and then completely healthy scratch all season.
Well, he wasn't supposed to be. He was a 6th round pick.
Yeah, he was supposed to be a development after Kenyan Drake's gone. And then
maybe they are developing him.
They developed him by not putting him in any game, not even suiting him up for the games.
Yeah.
They're developing that chip on his shoulder. Maybe, but we'll have to see. It's going to be an interesting room there. Chase Edmonds, got to get rid of him. In Seattle, Chris Carson, like we mentioned earlier, was re-signed to a 2-year deal. Nice to see him there. Russell Wilson wanted him back, so they brought him back.
DJ Dallas
kind of takes a hit. He had an opportunity to really emerge. Travis Homer really wasn't going to be going anywhere, but doesn't take away much either. I think Chris Carson is going to have a little bit of a regression from last season. He did get a lot of his work in the passing game early in the season, especially those first 4 to 6 weeks.
He's got to stay healthy.
Yes.
If he can stay healthy, I do think that he can be a top 12 running back. But I don't see him staying healthy for a full 16 games. I see him getting 12 to 13 games in next year. And I don't like saying that.
No, I don't like predicting injuries or planning on anything to happen. But I do think Chris Carson is another person where if you've got him now, you might hold on to him. But I'm interested in putting him up on the market and seeing what kind of offers I get.
I would hold him. I think his upside is better than what the value you're going to get for him. I do think one way he could potentially stay healthy is less touches going to him and giving some more to DJ Dallas, which takes away from his ceiling definitely, but probably keeps him on the field a little bit longer. So that could be something we see there in Seattle. I do like Chris. I think it's a tricky situation.
I think you move on from him. Over in Miami, As a team who is really expected to be drafting a running back as the second or third pick that they make in this draft, we signed Malcolm Brown out of all running backs available, while still having Myles Gaskin and Salvan Ahmed. I kind of don't. I feel like there's other people that were in free agency that fill his role better than he does. I do understand he was a solid running back for Los Angeles last year. But there was a reason they were working him in with Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson. He's not good enough. Myles Gaskin did very, very solid last season while he was healthy. Salvan did great while he was the guy there. None of our running backs are great, though. No one's good.
And I think that... Continue. Sorry if I cut you off.
No, you're fine.
Oh, no. So everything that this shows me, or what this points to, is we're going to draft somebody. I think we're going to draft somebody. I think we're going to draft somebody within the first 2 rounds. Whether it's Najee, hopefully not Travis Etienne, or Javonte Williams, one of those 3 guys I think are going to be Miami Dolphin next year. Miami really struggled in the short game, and I know this because I watched him. And they, literally could not get a 3rd and 1. Consistently.
3rd and 1.
Couldn't do anything.
4th and 1.
And that's what we need. I think Malcolm Brown comes in as a situational back. And he will take goal line attempts from whoever the starting running back is if we do indeed draft one. I think that Myles Gaskin is going to have a nice role as a change of pace back. But I really do think that we draft somebody. And Malcolm Brown just comes in more as a situational back than anything. So, but another weird situation to watch. As for Myles Gaskin, because out of all these guys, he was the most fantasy relevant last year, I think, or I would say. He's not going to have a year like he did in that last year. Let's just be honest, especially if they draft somebody. And maybe they do stick with Malcolm Brown and Gaskin is a 1-2 thing. But I do think that no matter what, I think that Gaskin is going to have some relevance in the fact that he's going to be the change of pace guy. He did jump Matt Barida and Jordan Howard coming from, kind of coming out of nowhere, really. Nobody really expected it. Not that was a huge jump. Those guys weren't that good last year, but he did do that. So I think he'll have some fantasy relevance. Nowhere near what he was this year, but there are going to be games where, I think you can play him.
If they draft someone else, I don't see him being anywhere finishing a week above a running back 3 unless he gets into the end zone. But you could have, if it's just him and Brown and Ahmed, I think that he'll be someone that can really fill a role. I think his value right now, projected by most people, is going to be extremely low. Mm-hmm. And like Mike did in one of his leagues, he traded away Stephon Diggs for Michael Thomas and Myles Gaskin, and I think that was a great move on his part.
Thanks.
Gaskin is someone who could be a solid filler or could fade away, but he only grabbed Gaskin as a lateral move while releasing Stephon Diggs and grabbing Michael Thomas, essentially staying with an amazing top-end receiver and grabbing Gaskin, who could be a solid space filler or one of those guys you cut after you draft your rookies.
Yeah.
Just going to have to see. Buffalo signed that guy that Gaskin replaced, Matt Barida. Matt Barida is going to be filling in behind, I'm assuming, the same role that Devin Singletary filled in. Zach Moss takes over that power back role, that third down back, that short down back. Matt Barida is going to be a faster, healthier version of Devin Singletary, a little bit bigger as well. They gave Devin 2 years. I think it might be time that they just, if you've got him, it might be.
It's over.
It might be over for you.
It's over. I really like Matt Barida going to the Bills. I like it. I think that he's going to be that third down, change of pace guy, similar, kind of what he was supposed to be in Miami, with Zach Moss. Another team that really needs that full-time, running back, one who can get the short yardage, but at the same time can catch the ball and whatnot. But no matter what, I actually almost cut Matt Barida. I was about to cut Matt Barida, and I was like, you know what? I'll hold him. Literally the next day, signed to Buffalo. Kind of like it. Devin Singletary, if you got him, I apologize. Sorry, Zach Moss. if you're a Zach Moss owner, hopefully they don't draft a running back and they just stick with Moss and Barida. So,
would love to see it. Over in San Francisco, kind of an interesting situation. Tevin Coleman is gone. Jeff Wilson was re-signed for a 1-year deal. And then Raheem Mostert and JaMychal Hasty are the only ones who remain there. I think that's going to be a really interesting running back by committee situation there. Mostert, Jeff Wilson, and JaMychal Hasty, all three of them were injured at one point, at the same time, at one point last season. They're a team I'm expecting to have to either
you know who they're going to
draft
sign,
a running
right?
back or sign. Who?
James Conner.
Hey, I think that'd be a great fit. All three of those guys on that list I just mentioned, Jeff Wilson, Mostert, and JaMychal Hasty, kind of elusive pass catching options as well as being elusive running backs. So complementary back to that would be James Conner. I think he'd fit that role really nicely.
Question.
Yes.
If it sits if it stays as it is now, okay, and you're going into draft season, they didn't draft anybody, they decide for some reason to go with these three guys. Raheem Mostert is going to be the most expensive.
Oh, yeah, he's going to be a first-round running back.
You think he's going to be a first round?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, I think he's going to fall in the second, maybe beginning of third, somewhere around there. Anyways, he's going to be top 3 at least. Would you rather have him or go with Jeff Wilson or JaMychal Hasty?
I'd rather have Mostert.
Mostert, you'd rather?
Oh,
that draft?
absolutely.
Okay, all right. I was just wondering.
Yeah, I think Jeff Wilson's like their value only comes out if Mostert gets hurt again.
Right.
And that's what you're counting on. You don't want to count on drafts. I would hedge. I would grab Wilson and JaMychal Hasty as almost a quote unquote handcuff.
You would?
I'd roster them. If I grab late running backs, I'm not super confident in the ones I have. I'd grab one of those two if they're available over.
If you're the Mostert owner?
No.
Okay. All right.
No. I wouldn't handcuff Mostert with them, but I would hold them as hopefully additional value if Mostert went down.
Yep.
Over in Las Vegas, we've got Kenyan Drake, obviously, who was signed there to back up Josh Jacobs. Very peculiar situation. We talked about it a little bit last week, I believe. What's your ceiling floor for Jacobs and Drake?
Jacobs is running back. Running back 2. I'm sticking with the running back 2. I want him to be
ceiling or floor. What's your ceiling and floor for him?
Ceiling is a top 5 running back.
Okay. I mean that's fair.
But his floor with Kenyan there is a running back 3. I would say a low end running back 3 could be just because
you realistically see him as a middle of the road running back too.
Yes.
Okay.
That's really where I got him. I think that Kenyan Drake is going to get his touches. He's also going to see a lot of the pass catching work. We saw it last year. No matter as much as I wished it and clicked my heels and whatnot, he didn't get Jacobs didn't get as much passing work as we wanted him to. And I don't think that is going to happen, especially with Kenyan there, because Kenyan's a great pass catcher. So I think he steals touches away from him. As for Kenyan Drake, I see him as a flex play. Somebody you can grab late that could. When you a couple years ago when he finished as a running back 1, you grabbed him later in the draft, and that's what helped a lot of people win leagues. I think that could be a situation this year. Something happens to Jacobs or whatnot. This is where Kenyan Drake gets his value, is when he is a late round running back. And I see the same this year. But as for Jacobs, it's peculiar to where he's going to be drafted at.
I honestly see Jacobs finishing at the very, very highest running back 8, and at the very lowest, he's going to get 8 touchdowns. He's going to get at least 500 to 750 yards. He's going to finish as the very lowest, a low-end running back too. He's as long as he plays 16 games. Kenyan Drake, I think, has the opportunity to possibly be a high-end running back too in his ceiling, and then unrosterable at his floor. If he's not used and is just purely backing up Jacobs, then it is what it is. I'm not going to be rostering Kenyan Drake. I'm not going to take the shot on him in a draft. I don't want to. I'm sure there's be other people around him I'd rather have at that point.
I think it depends on where for me, it depends on where he goes.
Honestly, at this point, I see him in the 6th round.
6th round? Wow, yeah, it's kind of high. Yeah. I wouldn't take him there.
No.
And you know what? I was just thinking about it, is their offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Which is crazy because last year was best. This year, who knows?
Yeah.
That does worry me a little bit too with these guys.
Over in Tampa Bay, we got Lenny re-signing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Ronald Jones still there. Keyshawn Vaughn still there. I personally think that Leonard Fournette's looking for a better season than he had last season.
Mm-hmm, I do too.
I think they're going to be a more run-dominant team during the regular season, and then once it gets to playoff time, it's however we need to beat our opponents.
Yep.
So I think that Rojo kind of takes a little bit of a hit. I think that Leonard Fournette kind of takes a little bit of a bump. I think they're about equal up until training camp, offseason finishes, and we can kind of get a little more coach speak about who's going to be the hot hand. Are they just running the hot hand? This is one of the best backfields in the NFL right now.
It is a good one. It is a good one.
It is one of the best duos. Obviously, you've got Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. Outside of that, Zeke and Tony Pollard.
That's a good one.
It is, but Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette, it's pretty solid.
Yeah. No, I like it. I mean, it is. It's a scary situation. I think I'm going to try to, as much as possible, I'm going to try to avoid them. I'm going to try to avoid taking the risk depending upon where they go in the drafts. If they're,
If you could draft either of them as your third running back, would you do it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I would.
That's about where I have them, is no more than my third running back. I don't want to have to rely on them.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And because the thing is if one of them does pop and you happen to play the right guy, and we will, we might get more, clarity on the situation as it gets closer and closer to the year. We haven't even hit draft yet. So it'll probably get a little bit more clear. I mean, who knows with Bruce Arians, but hopefully it does. But yeah, third running back, you hit it right. One of them, I mean, they have the potential to be a running back one. Both of them do, skill set. So maybe it happens, but more than likely not taking a high risk on them, though.
All right. Well, moving on from this one really quick. We got Chicago. Damian Williams is signing over there. He's going to be backing up David Montgomery as well as Tariq Cohen. I personally just think he's going to be a change of pace back, an extra hand, an extra relief back there. I don't think he's going to be taking away an exceptional amount of carries from David Montgomery, but I don't think David Montgomery is going to be riding such a hot hand that he was at the end of last season. I'm not going to grab Damian Williams, and I'm taking Montgomery down a few ticks on my board.
Yeah, this does hurt David Montgomery purely, in my opinion, in the passing game. He had 68 targets last year, caught 54 of them, almost 440 yards. So I do think that we see a regression in that category with Damian there, and Tariq is there as well. He had a 3-year contract, so he should be there around next year. So I think that's the biggest hit for him. I do see him breaking 1,000 yards. I think he's going to get close to 247 carries, which is what he got last year.
I don't.
You don't think 247?
No, you got to remember, Tariq Cohen was out for a majority of the season. The only other person that he had there with him was Ryan Nall and Artavius Pierce. There wasn't really much competition for touches.
But even then, I mean, the year before that, when David Montgomery got 240, Tariq only had 64.
How many games did he play?
He played 16. So, I mean, I don't think that he's going – I don't think it's going to be huge. Maybe like 235 somewhere.
Lamar Miller then?
No, Lamar signed this year.
Okay.
But, so, I mean – I think he's going to be high on a lot of people's draft boards because of the way he ended the year, especially so hot. So I'm gonna put my brakes on him. I got to see where his ADP is.
There's a running back's name in my head, or face in my head, not even name. Played for the Dolphins last year, a goal line back.
Jordan Howard.
Was Jordan Howard in the Bears that year?
I don't know. I don't know. But you look that up. I'll move on real quick.
Gotcha.
Patriots. Same old shit show. That's what Damian Harris, James White re-signed. They have Sony Michel, J.J. Taylor, Brandon Bolden. What are you doing here? Or are you doing anything? Are you touching this Patriots backfield? Nasty.
I'm not drafting anyone here. In a standard league, though, I would draft Damian Harris.
Okay. I don't like Damian. Actually, there's only one guy I like. I like J.J. Taylor. It's just a sleeper. I
like Damian Harris. How many 100-yard games did he have last season?
Oh yeah, no, he had like 4 or 5.
I think in a standard league, if it's a non PPR league, I think he's a great running back. He's very efficient. They lost Rex Burkhead. They're not going to be re-signing him. James White's going to be taking that pass catching role. I think that Damian Harris showed a lot last year, and it's going to play through. Again, depending on where he draft is, we're kind of far away from it. So ADPs are just speculative at this point. But if I got him as my third running back, I'm pretty happy. I'm not drafting him in the first or second round. I don't know where he's going right now, but in my opinion, he's a third, fourth round running back.
At third or fourth round, I'm going to stay away from just the Patriots in general. I'd rather grab somebody late just because with Bill Belichick, you never know. I'm not taking anything away from Damian Harris because he is a good running back. But I want to keep myself out of that situation. I hate it. I hate that situation. I draft James White a couple times, and it's the worst.
Yeah, I wouldn't draft James White.
I draft Damian Harris too. I mean, any Patriots running back, it's like 1 week you're like, yay, and the next week you're like, no.
But before he got injured and started missing some weeks, he was getting some consecutive touches week in and week out and having decent-ish games. And I think the fact that Cam Newton's going to be back there and it's not the system that Belichick and Brady were running, I think that we're going to see a shift of what that offense is doing. And with the pass catchers they just brought onto the team, I think Harris is someone who's going to be used as a runner. But we'll have to see what happens there. Over in Houston, the last team we're going to be talking about today.
Oy vey.
They've got a lot of guys. We've got Phillip Lindsay, David Johnson, Mark Ingram coming in, and then a handful of backups. It's too many. Starting off really quickly, I think it's going to be interesting to see how many touches Phillip Lindsay gets. I think he's more than likely to be their team's first running back, in my opinion. I think he's going to eclipse David Johnson. I think he's going to eclipse Mark Ingram. And then these other guys I didn't list because there's just too many names that they're not going to feed them all.
Yeah, I agree. It's convoluted. We had, I believe consensus. David Johnson was 24 for us. I can tell you that's going to change. For sure. But I would agree. I think that the younger guy is going to prevail. I mean, he had a great year before Melvin Gordon came into Denver.
Plagued by a little bit of injuries this year, and he kind of looked good in the games that he did play for the limited amount of role that he got to fill.
You must kind of like that beer.
It's so interesting.
Okay, all right.
So interesting.
Cracking a second can. The can that I was supposed to drink. No.
Well, there's 2 more in there.
Oh, there's not.
Yeah. Yeah, huh? There was a 4-pack.
Oh, okay, all right. I thought it was a put together, but it's okay. But anyways, I don't like any of these backs, to be honest. I mean, I agree that Phillip Lindsay is going to be the guy. Okay, dope. Is going to be the guy, but I'm not really going to – it's another situation I kind of want to avoid. I can tell you this. I think Mark Ingram is definitely going to be the odd man out with the season that David Johnson had. He might get his goal line touches and things like that and get in the end zone, but that's not really going to be too predictable. So,
I got you. So that is going to be our what'd you call this? The running back
room roulette.
With all the options and changes that we had, kind of makes sense. And did anyone hit? Did anyone really change the outlook of their team with that? With their running back changes and signings?
I think the biggest one was Kenyan Drake. Kenyan Drake to the Raiders. I think that is going to have the quote-unquote biggest impact.
On the Raiders or the Cardinals?
On the Raiders.
Okay.
I'm saying,
you think it's going to hurt Josh Jacobs so much that it's going to kind of...
In fantasy in general. I think
I could agree with that.
It throws like a wrench into people's game now, into their draft decisions. So.
Oh, yeah. I have a buddy who's got Kenyan Drake and Josh Jacobs on the same team.
Nice.
And he is not happy with that trade.
2 years ago, he could have won his league.
So moving on to finish up, we are going to be going over this monstrosity Frankenstein creature that wants some love and peace.
It is green too, the can.
This is going to be a collaboration of Stillwater, Artisan, and Collective Arts Brewing Company. This has been a ride. Again, this is the Blueberry Chocolate Coffee Vanilla Sour. It is a 5.5 ABV. And boy, when you pour it out, it does pour a nice dark red / purplish, almost like a watered down grape juice kind of looking thing. Pomegranate juice, what it reminded me of originally. And then obviously the carbonation kind of makes it look like almost a sparkling grape juice. Aroma wise, made me gag at first. Going to be absolutely honest. Was not sure what to expect. I made a face. After giving it a few sips, tasting it, if I go back to the smell, I know what to expect. It smells like black coffee. First and foremost, that is what you smell.
I like black coffee.
You smell coffee beans and then chocolate. And it's like a dark chocolate. You can feel the bitterness coming across your tongue as you're taking the smell. And then in the very back end of it, you get this like fruitiness. And you're almost like, where? It's almost like, honestly, it's kind of like, whoa. Take a handful of chocolate-covered coffee beans and then chocolate-covered blueberries, dark chocolate.
Nice.
That's kind of what it tastes. That's what it smells like.
Oh, okay.
What it tastes like is it's extremely fruity on the front end. Very, very fruity on the front end, and then immediately gets kind of pulled in by some chocolate flavors. It's a lot sweeter than it smells. And then all of a sudden you get hit by a train of just coffee. I like coffee.
I love coffee.
I like black coffee. Don't need my sugar. Don't need my cream in it. But if it's there, cool. It didn't overwhelm me, but it makes it hard for me to sip this beer or whatever. If you've been watching on YouTube, I'm taking big sips because the fruity sour flavor is enjoyable. The coffee flavor for it's just kind of off-putting for me, but not in a bad way. Before the show, Mike took a sip of it just because he wanted to taste. He said it's not horrible, and he's right. It's not horrible. It's interesting.
It's different.
You have to choose this one.
Yeah.
You're not just grabbing it.
Even though I took it like a taste, I want to drink the whole beer and really experience it because
grows on you throughout it.
Before I give a rating, but Collective Arts Brewery or Brewing, we've actually had them on the show before. I'm trying to look exactly which beer we had that was with them. I can't find it right now. But anyways, they paired up with Stillwater Artisanal. Stillwater does a lot of seltzer waters and things like that. Honestly, I didn't get much off their website. I found their Instagram. You can check them out at Stillwater _artisanal. ARTISANAL. So you can check them out there. They have a ton of different brews and they provide. Collective Arts Brewing Company is out of Canada, Ontario, or Hamilton, and then Toronto. They do put a different artist or picture on each can. This is called Famous When Dead, the Stroke on Trent.
Carl Sagan?
I don't know. Let's see. It won't open. But it's like a face, but it's cut out. It's got a rainbow to the interstellar world. Let's see. I am famous when dead. Yeah. What is that? The Twilight Zone. That
noise I just
it
did?
it gets that same vibe. That like Twilight theme or Twilight
Zone.
Yeah, not Twilight. But yeah, so it's a pretty dope can, like a dark green around it, and some dude's face that's not there. So check Collective Arts Brewing out at collectiveartsbrewing.com. You can check out a bunch of their beers and other collaborations. You can also shop and then read other stories on different beers. And also, if you're in Hamilton or Toronto, you can check out their brewery. They do spirits as well. So check them out. And then again, Stillwater _artisanal on Instagram for Stillwater Brewing.
So being that Mike didn't give a taste, or he got a small taste, didn't really get to write out the full flavor.
I'm still doing 11 beers, baby. 11 beers one day. Oh, it's going to be rough.
So I'm going to be giving this one, I don't know. I feel kind of weird giving it. I want to give it a true and honest opinion, but it's just such a different flavor. I don't feel like it's just weird.
For what they're going for, what is your...
Bro, I don't even know what the hell they're going for. I'm going to be honest. I don't know what they wanted here. It's not a bad beer, so I'm not going to rate it low. It's not one of my favorites, so I can't rate it too high. For a sour, I'm going to give it a 7. If you wanted this flavor, you got it. Nail on the head. You're going to hit a 10 out of 10. If you just want to try something that has a different flavor, perfect. This is great for you to try a can or two of. You're going to enjoy it, but not love it. 7 out of 10. If you just grabbed it on accident, you're going to hate it. If you didn't know what you were jumping into before you took this sip, you're not going to appreciate it and not really understand that it's supposed to be like this. But they did a really great job of mixing these really different flavors together. So I definitely say at least a 7 is a fair rating for them. And if you're someone that appreciates what they're doing here, you're just going to love it even more.
Beautiful. It's art. Art in a can and on the can.
Art in the can, on the can. The can itself, the beer itself is art. This show is art, and we appreciate you guys coming and being a part of this art. Thank you so much for joining us for another amazing episode of the Fantasy Tab.
Yes, sir.
We've got the end of free agency coming up and the draft only a few weeks away, so make sure you guys are staying tuned for that. We are going to be doing a draft live stream. It has been briefly discussed, so welcome to the discussion. We are going to be doing a draft live stream at the Tiki Bar and Mike's house.
Let's go.
It will be John and Mike. Will you still be on your 75 days then?
When?
Draft day?
Oh, draft day. Yes. Yes, I will be. Yep.
Darn.
Yep, I will be.
You take a break that day?
I cannot. I'm taking a break for Katie's birthday, so
I'll be there. Alrighty. But yeah, make sure you guys are tuning in to our draft day special. We'll be there live for the first night, for the first round, there to talk about what these draft picks impact could mean in our opinions, and just to hang out and talk to you guys who are probably just going to be sitting around watching the draft alone.
Yep, draft party, baby. Actually, I have a Zoom call going on with a bunch of other Dynasty League guys I'm in, so it's going to be, we'll have a lot of people there.
Oh, I'm excited.
It's a party, baby.
Should be fun. Just drop the Zoom call, tell them to join us on the chat, and we'll all just hang out together.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So thank you guys so much. Make sure to check us out on both Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Instagram and Twitter are going to be at the Fantasy Tap. Facebook, we got the Fantasy Football Tap Room. And then if you guys want to send us an email, it's thefantasytap at gmail.com. Send us any of you guys beer recommendations, fantasy football questions, or anything that you guys want to hear from us. Tell me you like looking at me. Tell me you like Mike's hats. I love Mike's hats. I wish I could rock hats as well as Mike does.
Oh, hat on a John. John
in a hat is hilarious.
John on a hat is even funnier.
The hat crushed.
Yeah.
But absolutely. Just make sure you guys reach out to us. We really appreciate you guys coming through every week. And as the season gets closer, we're getting closer and closer to being around more often, and our schedule getting back to that 3 a week. So
yes, sir.
Make sure to tune in and get ready for a great football season.
We love you guys. Thanks so much. Mwah.